Influential.
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 Dean on who you guys were. He didn't know that you were the heads of 4 very influential East Coast families.
Her father is a very powerful, very influential man. The influential man. The influential man.
Well, think about it, Castle. Matilda King is the most influential person in fashion, and Ella had direct access to her world.
And works inside the Imperial Palace.
These two, sir. Most influential, I'd say, Vice Minister Secchia.
Called his office.
How influential is his family?
Very.
It's not every day we get the chance to sit down with members of such an influential family.
Targeted.
Shang is a kingmaker. He's extremely influential in shaping his government's economic policy.
Pro, which means he may strike again, and I am not going to lose one of the world's most influential men on my watch.
No. The Thon bloodline is chock full of influential politicians, scientists, captains of industry failures.
Italy's most powerful, influential family of all time.
Army.
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 Methodist. Commissioned Army officer. Army officer. Army officer.
How do you get this stuff?
Friends.
Just give me an army of women. Army of women. Army of women.
Welcome to the Army. Welcome to the Army. Welcome to the Army.
Yeah, battle buddy! It's like a Siamese twin!
I wish there was more. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. We really appreciate it.
500,000 classified U.S. Army documents, hundreds of thousands of internal communiques from the U.S. State Department.
Judge gives you 2 choices. You got jail, you got the Army. Which one are you gonna take? Army ain't so bad.
I'll lie. The Army will let me. You think they want their dirty laundry aired in public?
Who'd they get?
We don't know yet. We're trying to find out.
It's probably Bernstein and Myers. They won that asbestos suit last year.
Bring them on. They'll look like an army against us.
My guess, if we cross-reference it with Army medical doctors, we'll find only a few with a name of that length.
I bet she wasn't even in the Army.
Oh, they're the only friends we ever had. But there's an army of ravagers around them, and there's only 2 of us.
And we're gonna employ it right here, in Nashville. So we're gonna form an army. You and I. This army has one weapon, that weapon is love.
M1 Grand Army. World War II.
That's beautiful.
German standard issue. M1 Carbine. Standard issue. U.S. Army. World War II.
Constituent.
Constituent.
Constituent. Constituent.
Constituent.
I send letters to his constituents. I must have touched it at some point.
What do I have next?
Constituent calls from 210 to 235. Constituent calls from 210 to 235. Constituent calls from 210 to 235. Fundraising until 3:50. Deputy caucus at 4.
Legislation at all. I spent my time in Congress focusing on things that were important to my constituents. The shipyard.
You think we're being disingenuous?
My constituents don't trust the administration. I can't have them thinking the wool's been pulled over our eyes.
What about 68 and 64?
I have a responsibility to my constituents.
A prison?
Brand new federal corrections facility.
Why would his constituents want convicts in their backyard?
They don't.
Your horse, your father, your constituents, it's...
I'm just not so sure I'm too comfortable telling my constituents to allow you folks to come into our town.
So what do we tell our constituents to do now?
Oh, that shouldn't have been too surprising. My constituents have a lot of anger towards your family. Stately manner?
No. I wanted to sponsor a Cash for Guns event. I give you the money and you get your constituents to lay down their arms. Sue.
Sue.
Sue. Sue.
Sue.
We're gonna sue your ass. We're gonna sue your ass. We're gonna sue your ass.
Everybody does. Not suicidal.
I'm going to sue you a whole lot for harassment. I'm going to sue you a whole lot for harassment. I'm going to sue you a whole lot for harassment.
I noticed. And he's pushing the parents to sue Gaffney.
Sue Gaffney. Sue Gaffney. Sue Gaffney. It's in his own jurisdiction.
It's worth throwing Gaffney under the...
We'll sue the department for harassment.
All right. Okay, we got it.
Whose sole ambition will be to sue the district attorney's office for wrongful arrest and reckless endangerment.
What the hell? You better have a warrant or we're gonna sue your ass.
Young lady,
for...
you're gonna let me make an emergency broadcast right now.
I'm gonna sue you for entrapment. And when I'm done collecting,
Thorne has dropped all plans to sue the city.
Genetic.
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 Genetic. Genetic.
It's a fatal genetic lipid storage disorder.
Oh, it's a gray clouding of the cornea. That's a genetic disorder. Genetic disorder. Genetic disorder.
Our relationship is entirely genetic. Genetic. He's an embarrassment.
Genetic view. Okay. Let's have a look at its DNA.
Well, shouldn't any diagnosis be accompanied by a genetic test?
John, hold on a minute, please.
Actually, I was going to suggest that.
In conclusion, we find that based on the genetic testing results, the probability of paternity is 99.99%.
Patient has a great-grandmother who's Korean. Odds of a match increase when two people share certain genetic identifiers.
It's the restaurant industry. I got an alcoholic dad, an alcoholic grandfather. Hey, I'm Irish. Damn genetics. It's not my fault.
And I've assigned you each.
Time out. The black dude had our genetics.
What happened to him?
I have nothing, and my life is half over. More than half, probably, because I have high genetic risk factors for heart disease and colon cancer.
So you made him alone.
I altered his genetic material. I added to it.
She's so grand.
It's genetic.
Yes.
Payment.
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 Payment. Payment.
Where is the package? Once my client sees the payment, she'll take us all to its very secure hiding spot.
It's $250,000. It's a down payment. Down payment. We'll call it a layaway plan.
Your Excellency, there was the matter of payment.
Hey, how much down payment are you working with?
Look like, I don't know, got some cash.
We can start your payments at $25 a month. Yeah, you're welcome.
I promised you your payment first.
Step right up, brother. Get your cure. Have your payments ready. Canned food only.
I'll ask how long they can give us and what scale of payment they'll accept.
And he'll have the rest of the payment before he's missed it.
What payment?
Remainder of the debt.
What would that look like? We give you an upfront payment for the right to use your brand.
Fluent.
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 Also, Mr. Zhang doesn't speak a word of English, and it says on your resume that you are fluent in Mandarin.
It does?
Smart, highly trained, fluent in 11 languages, Gage was our most effective asset.
I'm getting quite fluent.
You're taking German lessons.
I'm going to live there.
You'll meet a contact named Emile who can get you into Paris.
Well, it's a good thing I'm fluent in French.
And I would tone down the Telemundo. Mallory here is in Spanish 4.
See, I'm also fluent in Celtic and Elvish.
Bachelor under 30 in America. He speaks fluent Chinese and German, and he was an alternate on the Olympic curling team.
Champion 3 years in a row. I'm fluent in 4 languages and can wrestle with a menu in 5 more.
Jesus. I have 18 hours to become fluent in Mandarin, and I can't even get on the website. So...
Creepy, you know who's fluent in Mandarin is Tori.
Am I crazy, or did I just hear him speak in perfect Spanish?
Yeah, fluent in 3 dozen languages, but the man has never seen say anything.
I come back around. So we combed the NYPD database for someone about Elena's age and appearance who speaks fluent Russian, in case that's relevant.
which means we could be dealing with a highly skilled individual, fluent in spycraft, capable of creating a ghost identity that can withstand any background checks.
She's saying something.
Wonderful. Anyone fluent in bug?
She's calling for me.
Uneasy.
Uneasy. Uneasy.
Uneasy.
Uneasy.
Can't leave them to rot. Creates an odor. Makes people uneasy. Makes people uneasy. Makes people uneasy.
Tonight, the bush is uneasy, uneasy, uneasy.
Do you have to just stand there? You're making me feel uneasy. You're making me feel uneasy. You're making me feel uneasy. Oh.
I sunk into an uneasy slumber.
But I watched him all the way home in the car, and you could tell he was uneasy.
Told me. He said that our father had an uneasy alliance with the council. They did things that he didn't agree with.
That relationship makes me very uneasy. Some die under torture, others talk.
Emma, I can tell that your heart is uneasy. And it's my job, well, I'm glad to hear it. They make me aggressively uneasy.
Lexi, I want to believe that you're the reason the Ishveni haven't attacked us here, but you can't blame Maggie or anyone for being uneasy.
It's too quiet out here. It makes me feel uneasy.
Religious.
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 Do a lot of stuff through our church. It's called the Agape Church.
Right. It's the religious science philosophy.
I thought it was some religious fanatic opposed to my research. I get threatening letters and emails, very nasty.
Rumors, is it?
You know, I'd never been a religious man. Never believed in anything I couldn't see with my own eyes. Then one day, being came down from...
You're religious, Carlos. Believe in that whole bit the Lord works in mysterious ways?
Here, you should add that its roots are in religious traditions.
And you did. You have your indoctrinated little religious grandchildren. You cannot make me hound you for these checks.
Il Capitano! Didn't take you for a religious zealot. A bully and an asshole, yes.
Turn. Guys like me were kind of shunned at most religious organizations.
Our examination, yet it could be a deformed human or some sort of manufactured religious artifact.
On religious grounds, on economic grounds.
Religious theater is one thing, this is politics.
My faith is not a theater.
No.
Mallory was founded by people of many religious beliefs.
I seem to remember you said you weren't very religious.
That doesn't mean I'm a sinner.
Chase.
Chase. Chase.
Chase. Cheese.
All right, now if you excuse me, I'm gonna chase that little fucker out of here.
I mean, normally I have to chase people just to get their last months.
Lower away, ball two. Good seems to be pitching around, Jackie, or as they say, trade, trying to get chase.
Handsome Rob, premier wheelman. Once drove all the way from Los Angeles just so he could set the record for longest freeway chase.
Didn't Roy just chase the story?
Pentagon Star Malden. It's a massive cover-up. You are? Where are you heading? A bulk delivery to Chase.
I got to be at 2 Lane on Saturday for the Sigma Nu thing. Monday night, we've got the dinner with the guy from Chase and his wife.
You know, it's really easy to lose sight of what's important in business.
That's a chase.
Okay. You want to chase out the offer?
Dan,
Have Diane write back saying we're willing to take it to 85 million.
You want to chase phantoms and leave the fortunes of Florence to us? Go!
He's my friend.
Then let's move!
How far do the Reapers chase you?
They'd still be chasing me if I didn't lose them. Why?
Maybe he's just hoping you'd chase after him. You could use a bath, bud. It belongs to anyone?
Accurate.
Accurate.
Accurate. Accurate.
Accurate.
Were nothing to worry about. They weren't a problem. So I just thought I was being accurate.
Experiment was conducted at your farm?
It was.
In your barn?
Yes.
And this experiment led to your conclusion that the police investigation was accurate.
That's correct.
No. What Foster said is accurate.
Why did we subpoena this again?
Don't worry about it.
Was this an accurate depiction of the events, Officer Sutton?
Yes, it is.
As you can see, Your Honor, they're highly prejudicial.
And highly accurate. Overruled.
Spend like $85,000 on IT when I could just do it in a few hours.
Humble much?
To be accurate, that was me making fun of the law firm, not me, you know.
I don't know.
But there have been civilian deaths. Not intentional civilian deaths, accidental.
Yes, our drones are accurate, but we can't control everything that happens on the ground in Afghanistan.
In fact...
Hotel financier, the one you slept with while we were married.
Eli.
What? I'm being just as accurate as the press will be.
You know, this is getting messy. Maybe I should just back off.
No, Stacy, give us a minute.
Sure.
Got about 18 feet-ish. His information was accurate.
Well, he's the enemy, right?
Maybe I should just make everything up. Probably be as accurate as what you're giving me.
What is it you want to hear?
To compare this to your life.
I get it, Maz. I'm a pawn. Your analogy lacks creative thinking.
You're upset because it's accurate.
It's an electrical wiring map, Saeed. I'm not sure it's as accurate as you think.
Announcement.
Announcement. Announcement.
Announcement.
Announcement.
While we hear a special announcement for my dear friend Jonathan.
Hear your message and your story, the better off we'll all be.
Thank you, that means a lot.
And finally, I understand you have another big announcement. Big announcement.
Altess was wondering whether we should fire Mr. Cornet. It seems the press department's rather messed up. The Hitchcock announcement.
Everyone, please step up. Thank you. I have a very exciting announcement to make tonight. We have sold the soul of Marion Dupre to the highest bidder for $5,000.
Minors, Abby's announcement proved to be very convincing.
Everybody, Mike here has got an announcement.
You call Johnny a burnout again?
I had planned a more formal announcement of my arrival in New York, but now that you're here...
I don't care that you're back.
Now, if I may, I suggest an announcement of payments to settle debts. The longer it takes them to hear, the more fuel Lily White can throw on the fire.
All right, listen up, people. I got an announcement to make.
Pretty busy this morning, Dodie.
Now you have to come to the radio station.
I don't want to overwhelm the public with more announcements.
No big announcement, then?
No. All likely to be. He's off on the 9 o'clock train.
For the meeting?
For the announcement.
Wearing my navy blue on the pinstripes. Tomorrow morning we start working on his draft for his announcement speech.
Got it.
Violation.
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 If you've done anything to my partner, Doctor, that is a violation of...
Focus, Andrew. What do you see?
No.
Did you ever commit a minor traffic violation?
Yes.
2007, one speeding violation 6 months ago, and a restraining order issued 3 years ago by his ex. No reported violation.
Some British boarding school, probably.
Well, it's not a violation of the pharma code to buy you doctor's lunch. You are aware that by detaining me without consent, you are in direct violation of statute 27B/6.
Details hundreds of murders, massive human rights violations. It's like exposing Chile under Pinochet.
6 parole violations, and now he's taking a minor to a whorehouse.
Of any kind. A repeat violation of this rule will be grounds for trespassing, and security will be called.
Access to his medical records. It would be a flagrant violation of HIPAA guidelines, not to mention the patient's privacy.
I said don't move. This is a violation of the truce. You're over the line. We know.
We can't ignore their human rights violations anymore.
Organ.
Organ. Organ.
Organ.
Organ.
Why wasn't I paged?
Because there's a problem. No organ donor card. No organ donor card. No organ donor card.
She wore corrective lenses, and she was an organ donor. An organ donor. An organ donor.
The organ trade in Germany. Strange examples of violent behavior across the Asian peninsulas.
Standard paperwork, hospital liability and disclaimer forms, and organ donor authorization.
Is that what you do, Les? You just play it all by ear?
Yeah, I find it's the best organ to play by.
On its site? Well, we've got 10 pipe organ muskets capable of firing 33 rounds a minute on ours.
Harbor my people for the purposes of exploitation or organ theft.
Oh, come on, amigo. Would an organ thief make you lunch?
McGregor syndrome. It's a genetic defect that creates fluid buildup in the lungs, which leads to oxygen deprivation and multi-system organ failure.
While I very much appreciate the award, the real honor for me is knowing that my work in organ transference helps give people a second chance at life.
So he needs surgery.
If he's going to remain a viable organ donor, yeah.
If he's gonna live. What about the rest? Doesn't work out for everyone.
What's the point of being an organ donating center if you're not donating enough organs?
2 options. Option 1. I shoot you with 50,000 volts, which may cause respiratory failure, organ malfunction, internal burns, and loss of bowel and bladder.
Worthy.
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 She always left clues behind for her little sister Ruthie, or anyone else she deemed worthy. Worthy. Worthy.
Rumors are true. I've decided to retire and pass the baton to a worthy successor. Worthy successor. Worthy successor.
You hate it so much, it's the only place you can stay. It's the only place you're worthy of. Worthy of. Worthy of.
Riven.
He wasn't worthy of your gift.
You stole it.
The virtue of a republic like Florence, offices go to the most worthy.
Those who would join me at my table be similarly worthy.
What was that?
As I mentioned before, I think the work done here is very worthy.
And I hear from the feds, you're the kind of guy who's always looking to invest in worthy causes.
You were worthy.
That he may be worthy of our judgment.
And so he proved himself worthy of greater responsibility.
No, of course not. It's not possible to be a hero when there's nobody worthy of saving.
Are there awards for tree trimming? Because this is award worthy. He believes you're worthy too.
Passport.
Passport. Passport.
Passport.
Passport.
You've got the passports, right? Huh? You've got them?
Yeah.
I want my passport. Passport. Passport.
Look. A trip to IHOP, but make sure you bring your passport, because it's international.
Right. So take back the passports, the passports, the passports. After little Toto, we're not taking on any new customers.
Well, no disrespect, but I ain't no new customer. You've been dealing with me for a long time. You keep the passports. Keep the money, too.
No passports in my kingdom, baby. No bags?
What's going on?
It's, passport protest.
I'll just be on my way.
Do you mind if I take a look at your passport?
Ugh, give it up, James. You're a volunteer officer. Why would you need to look at the boy's passport?
William Holt, British passport. You just got into town 2 weeks ago.
Don't lie to me, Richard. Beckett is here. Your passport is gone.
Dual citizenship. He flew out on a Lebanese passport.
It was just a simple passport request.
A passport request?
Yes, that's why he called.
You said he was requesting a passport. A Venezuelan passport?
Yes, of course.
Recognize.
Recognize. Recognize. Recognize. Recognize.
What's your problem?
Recognize this. Recognize this. Recognize this.
Okay.
I thought you said you knew this guy.
I do. Mr. Sanderson, it's me, Henry. Don't you recognize me? Don't you recognize me? Don't you recognize me?
Do you recognize this sword? Recognize this sword? Recognize this sword? It belonged to my uncle.
Hello, Ingrid. I recognize you from the newspapers. Ace Kricher.
Feels good to have your work recognized, yeah.
You seem pretty pleased with yourself. I recognize that look from my very own mirror, of course.
You're Jasper McCabe, the prophet of Palo Alto.
Getting recognized by the garbage man!
Told you they'd recognize me.
Do you recognize that?
Are you angry with me, brother?
You lying bitch.
It's not my fault you didn't recognize me.
Recognize you?
No, I've always had that.
No, I recognize that. Where am I? Don't you recognize it?
Because I know how to recognize a child of the moon.
Voluntary.
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 Voluntary. Voluntary.
To our pre-agreed ground rules, I will be taping this deposition.
Voluntary deposition.
Yes, voluntary deposition. Voluntary deposition. Voluntary deposition.
New job?
Unfortunately, it was a paralegal job. Voluntary, voluntary, voluntary.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no.
All of that's exactly right, Governor. It's just if you're gonna do it, do it. Make it mandatory, not voluntary. Not voluntary. Not voluntary.
Genital modification and voluntary amputation. So, I think we should get started.
My idol saint. My serious voluntary saint.
Santa Ana winds aren't helping matters. At this moment, the fire department is issuing voluntary evacuation orders.
Can't move the truck now. We asked for a voluntary evacuation of this area hours ago. The evacuation order is now mandatory.
Come on. I know it sucks and it's scary, but it's time to be brave.
It isn't voluntary.
It is when you're screwed either way.
Though I can't speak to the details of the case while my disciplinary hearing is pending, I want you to know that I have completed voluntary sexual harassment training.
You drugged him?
I didn't say the study was voluntary.
I go on the radio, I float the idea. It's a totally voluntary program.
No need to panic. We can get through this by coming together, which is why I'm initiating a voluntary food share program.
We confirm that any sexual and/or romantic relationship is completely voluntary. This is so creepy.
Await.
Await. Await.
Await. Await.
The girl who is bespectacled, she may not get her neck tickled, but safety pins and bassinets.
Await the girl who fascinets.
Where they'll go, what they'll see, what new worlds await them.
Remainder of my crew, some 200-odd U.S. Navy sailors, await our return aboard our destroyer USS Nathan James, currently in the bay at the mouth of the river.
Guess what? You like boats? Mm-hmm. But half a mile down that way, there's a boat waiting for you. White sandy beaches and turquoise water await.
It's good that
We shall await your return.
My vote would be we quietly sightsee, like he says, and await his call to see what we do next.
Save a man's life once, get a silver star. Save it twice, we're in the tux. I'll await further instructions, sir.
The war before I understand the situation. Agent Weaver, you're now the highest ranking officer on the carrier. I want you to head back there and await further instructions.
Yes, sir.
I don't believe that Sky would turn against it.
In the ground sleeping, but yeah, it sounds great. Well, caffeine addicts await.
Bye-bye, Dr. Jim.
I'm sorry for going at you like this, son. But I'm the last stop between you and the darkness that awaits you.
Motivation.
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 Motivated you to come and see me in the first place?
My motivation was to get over my depression and to have a life with my husband.
Then that's what this will show.
Well, what if I...
Civilian on the crew's a good idea, Charlie.
She's got the skill, and she's got the motivation. The motivation. The motivation.
Exactly. She's emotional.
I just wanted to ask you about motivation. About motivation. About motivation. Keeping something close to remind you. They've been talking about it in the meetings.
Well, that's probably not her motivation.
No, exactly.
Training day. Let me tell you something about that movie. That's motivation right there.
I'll show you what these streets is all about.
It's the motivation.
I can't say I completely understand what motivates your brother.
Well, I tell you, I know a lack of motivation when I see it.
Oh, my.
Any idea about the motivation for last night's bomb?
We just ID'd him 20 minutes ago. There's a lot we have to learn about him yet.
What would her motivation be for killing Lance?
Well, it seems her divorce was a tad messier than she led us to believe.
Suffer.
Ooh, watching you suffer is a tempting motivation, but it wasn't that.
If you're shooting at the apple, what's the poison for?
Motivation not to miss. Felix! Get over here.
So you're saying Durant acted of her own accord?
I have no idea what her motivations were. I'm just as shocked as the president that she would have gone through with this without his direct approval.
That is exactly what he said.
His motivations were atrocious, yes, but his logic was sound.
Permit.
Permit. Permit. Permit. Permit.
Learner's permit. Learner's permit.
We've been taking turns driving with her.
Thank you.
If you'll permit a professional observation.
Work permit expires at the end of November. Lives with 2 roommates in Tenley Town.
Would you permit me to pray for you?
Of course. Thank you very much.
No, you didn't.
I let him drive. He only had a learner's permit. It was raining.
Kyle, show him the permit.
It's fine. We believe you.
Gabby, if you're really serious, I will set you up with a class at my gun range. They'll teach you about gun safety, you will get a permit, and then we'll see about getting you a gun.
Not yet. Need you to pull me up anything you can on the store. Blueprints, permits, schematics, anything.
Or anyone can be told. Father Tundi will start this process if you'll permit him.
Don't you think we should park on the next block over? Because this is all permit parking.
No, we used to live here. It's fine.
Busy. I might buy some light bulbs, and then if time permits, I might do a little work on my master project. Top secret.
I'm right back here after you complete the assignment.
Like a learner's permit.
Endure.
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 Endure it again. I can't endure it again. I can't endure it again. But we endure because we have faith.
Think about how much more of this you want to endure.
End of an entire nation's application panic. To endure the frustration and anger of all the so-called millennial parents.
No man should have to endure that. Surrender. He simply asks that they endure the unendurable.
And he would endure
unimaginable pain.
Isn't it better to settle this once and for all rather than endure all this alpha mom crap until our kids graduate?
I hear that Prague is expected to endure the melting of the ice caps exceptionally well.
To men of salt, women who endure us, and to my friend, our captain.
The captain. Your choice. You go quick and painless, or you're gonna endure something that is unspeakable. No man should have to endure that.
How much more of this do we have to endure?
That was 3, there's 9 more.
Oh, good.
Would you endure a dull pain 24 hours a day for the rest of your life to make her appear here?
Barely.
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 Freaking cold. He barely spoke. He barely spoke. He barely spoke.
Pose a threat to me. You barely defeated Malcolm Merlin at nearly the cost of your own life.
Julie okay?
Barely.
Charles Graves!
Hey! Got time for an old pal?
Barely.
Technology has barely touched Miradevi's daily life.
I meant about not going to college.
Not really. I barely even think about it.
Sweetheart, this does not play to my strength.
So I'm supposed to spend the afternoon with someone I barely know?
It holds.
Barely.
Has he said anything about what happened?
No. He's barely said anything.
Dad, it's been 3 weeks. You barely eat or sleep. You should probably go home at some point.
Analysis which I'd done before I knew who it was. I barely knew him.
We've heard the same stories as you.
Well, we've both searched so long for a thing we barely understand.
Pursuit.
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 Pursuit. Pursuit.
After a prolonged pursuit, police have arrested Xian Nao Wei, a high-ranking member of the local Chinese triad. The Red Arrow and the Woman in Black in pursuit.
To get myself some less paltry possessions.
An empty pursuit. An empty pursuit. An empty pursuit.
You and I have been pulled off the pursuit. Why? Now, if you gentlemen will excuse me, I'm off in pursuit of the perfect bottle of rum.
His hero, the Dragon Warrior, who in his eternal pursuit of justice never rests.
For you, you are now the Dragon Warrior. It's time to put aside the childish pursuits of your past.
The pursuit began with gunshots at an apartment on East 38th Street.
Richard Castle, tell me, detective, how often have you let your personal feelings for your husband dictate your actions in pursuit of a suspect?
Yes, and I have proof that he has killed dozens in pursuit of this madness.
That is not what I mean. Asgard is millennia beyond you in our pursuit of science, of knowledge.
You ever wonder if this constant pursuit for revenge is the reason we've known a curse for us?
Cushion.
Cushion. Cushion. Cushion. Cushion.
Important that you be honest and tell me where you hide your booze. Under the cushions, under the cushions, under the cushions. Back of the closet, I know all the tricks. I threw it.
Fine. First off, you take out 20% and you hide it. Furniture cushions, floorboards.
Look inside. The cushions. Mom was always a big cushion hider.
They don't know what the hell they want. You know, all they're thinking about is rubbing up against a pillow or a cushion or another teenager, you know, so.
Hey, don't let him smoke. He hides cigars under that cushion there.
So it looks like we can do LA in style. We had a pretty big contract yesterday. I got some cushion now.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I was on stage at the time of the firing.
And he put his hands on the cushion of the box and threw his feet right over. Okay.
Everybody buckled? Mom's not.
Go. If we crash, all this crap will cushion the impact.
I'm not going until everyone's buckled. Someone has to be a role model around here.
You're early.
Always good to have a cushion. You get much sleep?
Impressed when they shoot you. Just feeling a little restless here, Finch.
Use the cushion.